Okay, girls, solving equations with fractions. Just watch what I've got here. Solving equations with fractions. Okay, this. Now, we've got x divided by 3 plus x divided by 2 equals 5. We all know that you don't like the fractions there. You want to get rid of your divide by 3 and your divide by 2. What's the inverse of dividing by 3? Timesing by 3. What's the inverse or the opposite operation of dividing by 2? That's why we end up, so instead of timesing by 3 and timesing by 2, we just times one go by 6, which is what the lowest common denominator of the 3 and 2 are. Now, you need to not talk for a minute. So, a lot of people get very confused and go, if I'm going to multiply through by 6, you know how I've got a left-hand side of the equation and a right-hand side of the equation? If I've got something equals something else and they're balanced, if I decide to multiply one side by 6, it's going to be 6 times bigger. You have to multiply the other side by 6. Does that make sense? If you've got an equation that's balanced, if you multiply one side by 6, you have to multiply the other side by 6. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. So I've got to do 6 times this side and 6 times that side. Now, because there are two things, I'm just going to go brackets at the moment. This is not what we normally do. But can you see what I've done? I'm going to go 6 times the left-hand side, 6 times the right-hand side. Girls, so that's 6x over 3 plus 6x over 2 equals 6 times 5 is 30. So what have I done? I've multiplied both sides by 3, by 6. Do you know why? I've got to undo the divide by 3 and the divide by 2. Opposite or inverse of divide by 3 and divide by 2 would be to times by 6, but there's a quicker method. Look what's on the denominators, 3 and 2. What number do 3 and 2 both go into? 6. So you just multiply both sides by 6. So I'm multiplying both sides of my balanced equation. This equals that means I have a balanced equation. If I times one side by 6, I times the other side by 6. So 6 times the left equals 6 times the right side. 6 times that. So basically I'm multiplying everything by 6. A lot of people have problems with that. They'll say, why are you multiplying two things on the left by 6, but only one thing on the right by 6? It's because we're just multiplying the left-hand side by 6 and the right-hand side by 6. I've got two things on the left, so they both need to be multiplied by 6. Can you see what I've done? So, what's 6x over 3? 2x. 6x over 2? 3x. Girls, why do we do this? To get rid of the fraction. If you undo the divide by 3 and the divide by 2, you've basically undone the whole fraction. So, multiply both sides by 6. So, 6x on 3 plus 6x on 2. That's 2x plus 3x. What's that? 5x is 30. X is 6. No. Okay, just continuing from that, just showing you another way of doing this question. Some people like to just make a common denominator. So one way of doing it, multiplying through by the lowest common denominator of 3 and 2, which is 6. Another way that people like to do this, they decide to just make a common denominator on the left-hand side. What would be the common denominator on the left-hand side? 6. So what would you multiply the first fraction by? So the first fraction gets multiplied by 2 over 2. Can you see what I'm doing, girls? If you like the first method, we're just going to stick with the first method, but I know that this is the way some people do it. They look at the left-hand side and they say, I'm going to write that as a single fraction with a denominator of 6. I'm just going to add those two fractions. Just do it like an addition question. So some people go, x over 3, I'm going to times that by 2 over 2. And x over 2, I'm going to multiply that by 3 over 3. So all they're doing, multiplying by 2 over 2 is the same as multiplying by 1. Multiplying by 3 over 3 is not changing the value of the fraction, it's just multiplying by 1. So they get 2x over 6 plus 3x over 6 is 5 by making a common denominator. Now that the denominator is 6, 2x plus 3x is 5x over 6 equals 5. And 5x divided by 6, inverse operation of dividing by 6 would be to times by 6. So 5x is 30. Therefore, x equals 30 divided by 5, which is 6. That's another way of doing it. But as the thing is, that's a fairly simple example that I've given you. As time goes on, year 10, year 11, you're really going to have to understand that method of multiplying through both sides by the same thing. It really is the quickest way to do things. But you can make common denominator on the left-hand side and then just proceed as normal. Okay? I'm going to do, this is from Mathscape, it's question 3H, exercise 4.4. Question 3H, solve these equations. 3 minus 5m over 42 equals 1 1/7. What do you think we should do? 3 minus 5m over 42 equals 1 1/7. What do you want to do with this 1 1/7? Change it to a improper fraction. What would it be? 8 over 7. Now, see how we've got fraction equals fraction. I do have fraction. I've got something over something else. That's fraction equals fraction with nothing else added on the ends. Not plus 5 or minus b or whatever on the end. When you've got that, who knows what to do? Who's heard of... Some people may have heard of what's called cross multiply. The only time you are allowed to cross multiply is if fraction equals fraction. Not with extra bits thrown on the end, not with something else added or subtracted to either side. It's got to be A over B equals C over D. Now, what we're really doing, yes, so this one, actually the best way to do it, would be 3 minus 5m divide by 42. What would you do with the divide by 42? So yeah, you don't need to times 42 by that and do this side as well. So this is not the best example for cross multiply. So we'll just do it like that. 3 minus 5m over 42 equals 8 over 7. 3 minus 5m divided by 42, inverse operation would be to times by 42. And we get 3 minus 5m equals 48. Because 8 times 42, 8 over 7 times 42 is 48. How do we know that? That's 42 over 1. 7 goes into 42 6 times. So do you want to get rid of the negative? I don't mind. What do you want to do, girls? You want to keep the 5m on the left or on the right? All right, so negative 5m equals 48 what? Plus or minus 3? So negative 5m is 45. M is? Yeah, it's negative 9 because it's 45 divided by negative 5, which is negative 9. If you were to do common denominator, I wouldn't do that. Now we've got to be very careful here. We need to get rid of all the fraction bits. Divide by 4, divide by 5, divide by 10. We're not going to divide by 200. Like we're not going to multiply by 200. What number do 4, 5 and 10 all go into? 20. So we're just going to multiply both sides by 20. Shh. We're multiplying both sides by 20. We've got a balanced equation. If we multiply one side by 20, we multiply the other side by 20. But the thing is, you've got two things on both sides, two terms on both sides. So you can either go 20 bracket, the left and the right. You can either go like this, 20 bracket u over 4 minus 2u over 5 equals 20 bracket u over 10 minus 5. I'm multiplying both sides by... Yeah, minus 5 over 1. That's okay. Now, I want to multiply each term by 20. So when I multiply the first one by 20, what do I get? 20u on 4, which is? Can I just write 5u? And then 20 times 2u over 5. What's that? That's 8u because it's 40u on 5, which is 8u. Do you get what I'm doing? Equals 20 times u over 10. 2u minus... All right, I'll show you another way. What we normally do is write... I'm going to throw in another step. Just one sec. What's 20 times minus 5? The other way you can do it is go like this. Or you could write 20u over 4 minus 40u over 5 equals 20u over 10 minus 20 times 5.
So
or actually, girls, that's an equals. Yeah, because 20 is on the numerator. Yeah, otherwise, okay. Do you prefer to write it like that and just write that next line? Or you could have put this line in between. Do you know what I mean? 20u over 4 minus 40u over 5 equals 20u over 10 minus 20 times 5. Do you like that line or no? Or do you prefer just to go to that one? It's up to you. Some people actually don't write the 20 bracket. They go straight to this line down here. All right? Now, 5u minus 8u is negative 3u equals 2u minus 100. Do you know what I'm doing? So you could put that line in between if you want, but I can't see why you can't just do that. So let's go left or right, girls. I think you should go to the right. 2u plus 3u is 100. 5u is 100. U is 20.
Miss, isn't it 20 times negative 5?
No, because I've decided to go and put the u's on the right and the number on the left.
At the top. Okay. You know how
Yes.
5 is negative?
It's 20 times negative 5, so which will give you negative 100. It's the same as plus, or you'd probably prefer to see it as, do you want plus 20 times negative 5? Same thing. Or minus 5 times 20? Either. You're going to get a You're going to get a minus. Probably best off not writing that, just going minus 100. Look, a positive times a negative is a negative. Whatever you put here, it could be minus 20 times 5 or minus 5 times 20. Same thing. Okay. Next question. Shh. No. Guys, by 20 is that 4, 5 and 10 all go into 20. So when you go 20 over 4, you get 5. When you go 20 over 2, you get 4, but we've got to multiply that by the 2. When you go 20 over 10, you get 2. And so that's why you choose the lowest common denominator of both sides. And once you multiply each term by that number, if your fraction doesn't go, then you've made a mistake. All right, so see how I've multiplied through by 20, I lose the fraction, and it becomes single line equation. Okay, we can practice, we'll be practicing more of those. Next question. This is like a cross multiply one, but it really is doing the same thing. I don't really want you learning new rules for slightly different things. 3h plus 7 over 2 equals 1 plus 4h over 11. You can go the same rule. Some people call it cross multiply, but girls, what's the common denominator? I mean, what's the lowest common denominator? 22. So what we're really doing is multiplying both sides by 22, or we can do 11 times this side equals 2 times that side. That's called cross multiply. Now, you know why? Don't you want to get rid of the divide by 2 on this side? So you times the other side by 2. Well, you're really timesing both sides by 2. And we want to get rid of the divide by 11. Opposite of that is times 11. So if we do the cross multiply, we say inverse operation of divide by 11 is times 11. But do them together. Inverse operation of divide by 2 is times by 2. Now, what does it look like I've done? It looks like I've just gone 11 times that equals 2 times that. Do you see what I've done? You're really undoing the divide by 2 with times by 2, undoing the divide by 11 with times 11, but it looks like I've just cross multiplied. Do you get what I'm... It looks like I've gone 11 times that equals 2 times that. But girls, see how I've got fraction equals fraction with no bits added on. If I look at the questions before, look at this. I've got fraction minus over here, the one I've highlighted, right? I've got fraction minus fraction equals fraction minus whole number. That is not fraction equals fraction. Don't cross multiply with the one I've just highlighted. Do you see? That's why I'm actually, question E is a really good one to show you why. Look here, girls. I'm highlighting question E up the top. Can you see it? Fraction equals fraction minus another number. Is that fraction equals fraction? So that you would never cross multiply. Do you get what I'm trying to say? With that one, C, you multiply through by what with C?
Can there be two terms on each side?
No. No.
But can't you just turn 20 minus 21 to the fraction?
You can, but look. You can sort of use old methods. Inverse of divide by 2 is times by 2. Inverse operation of divide by 11 is times by 11. Which is what, girls? 33h plus 77 equals 2 plus 8h. 33h minus 8h equals 2. Take away 77. 33, that's 25h equals negative 75. H is negative 75 over 25, which is negative 3. Okay? Now, stop teaching me all these methods. Just give me the one method that works for everything with fractions. And the following will work with everything with fractions. What is the lowest common denominator? We want to get rid of the divide by 2 and the divide by 11. Lowest common denominator is 22. We're going to multiply through, or both sides, by 22. So we go 22 times this side equals 22 times this side. This is another way to do it. Same method as what I just taught you before. Look at the denominator. Lowest common denominator is 22. Same method. Multiply both sides by 22. Wait a sec. What's 22 divided by 2? Can't we do cancelling with the 2 and the 22? You get 11 bracket 3h plus 7. Can't you do cancelling with the 22 and the 11? You get 2. And if you go back to what I did before, I've got exactly the same thing. I'm happy with both as long as you know. As long as you know when to cross multiply, I'm happy for you to cross multiply. But you have to know cross multiply is fraction equals fraction only. Okay, so I'm going to do an example of when you can't cross multiply now. So girls, then we continue, etc. Okay, so can you see multiplying both sides by the lowest common denominator will always work? Cross multiply only works for one type of question. Fraction equals fraction. So, you know what to do from there. It's the same question now. Do you get it? Get the idea? All right, let's go back. Can I move? Right, so this, your little note here is fraction equals fraction. So therefore you can cross multiply if you want. You don't have to. So with this one, fraction equals fraction, you are allowed to cross multiply. The other one, no. Now, I'll write this out again. E over 4 equals 5e over 6 minus 21. This is question something C. Don't worry, it's somewhere there. 4C, 3C, I don't know. Shh. E over 4 equals 5e over 6. Girls, I've got fraction equals fraction minus something else. Forget cross multiply. Okay, what's the lowest? What number do 4 and 6 go into?
24.
Yeah, but something smaller as well. So whenever you do 4 times 6 is 24, halve it and just check if they both go into half that. Okay, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 12. So 12, see, I've got to multiply the left by 12 and the right by 12. Do you want me to go 12 bracket on the right? Do you like the brackets? So 12 times, I'm going to go 12, I'm going to go brackets on both sides. Or just 12 times. We don't need brackets, you just need a times there. 12 bracket 5e over 6 minus 21. I'll tell you why I want brackets. Some people will just multiply the first two terms and they don't multiply the 21 by 12. You're multiplying both sides by 12. 12 times that. Girls, what's 12 over 4? 12e over 4 is 3e. The idea of multiplying by 12 is that you cancel. All right, what happens with the 12 and the 6 here? You get 2, you get 10e, and 12 times negative 21, negative 230, 252, that's right. So, girls, you can go to the left or go to the right. Which way? Girls, do you notice that in one step we got rid of the denominators? Multiplying this by 12, that by 12, that by 12, yes.
Do you know how you can cancel 12 and 6 and make smaller numbers? When you multiply 21...
See, it's 12 times that and 12 times that.
Yeah, but can you cancel 12? Why do we have a 2?
No, because that 12 belongs with the 21 as well. So, just one sec, I'm going to show you. See how I'm doing it like this? What we normally do is the following. Just watch. I'll do it again. Shh. Girls, can you just... Shh. All right. If you finish this off, we get 7e is 252. 252 over 7 is e. I don't know what you get. What do you get? 36. Stop for a minute. Shh. Right. I'll come back to this. Lowest common denominator is 12. Multiply both sides by 12. The way I normally set it out is as follows. I just go 12 e over 4 equals 12 times 5e over 6 minus 12 times 21. Now, the reason I haven't shown you that straight away is that a lot of people think she's multiplying the left by 12, but she's multiplying the right-hand side by 12 twice. Why is she doing that? Do you see why when I put it in brackets, it's just showing multiply the left by 12, multiplying the right by 12, but there are two things on the right? So once you're comfortable with that and you know you're going to multiply through, what we really are doing is multiplying through by 12. In other words, we're multiplying each term by 12. And when you do that, you know 12 over 4 is 3. You know 12 over 6 is 2, and you get 10e, and you get that.
But do we have to write it like that?
Now, the reason this is probably better is you can do your cancelling. Watch. You can do your cancelling there. I'm really worried that someone's going to go cancelling this 12 with the 6 and not multiply the 12 by the 21 anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, well, it's 12 times both of those. That's why they're in brackets. If you're going to do this method with brackets, make sure you don't cancel the 6 with the 12, because the 12's got to be multiplied by 21, not the 2. You don't go 12 over 6 is 2, I'm going to multiply 2 by 21. You still have to multiply 12 by the first term and 12 by the second, which is why a lot of people set it out this way. Multiply that by 12, that by 12, that by 12, which is effectively what we're doing. Okay? Now, should I do first?
Make it improper fraction.
Yep, change that. 5 bracket t plus 3 over 6 minus 3 bracket 1 plus 2t over 8 equals 8 over 3. I've changed it to an improper fraction. All right, girls, 6, 8 and 3, what do they all go into? 24. Lowest common denominator is 24. 8 threes are 24. 6 goes into that as well. What you do, you take the biggest number, 8, and you do multiples of 8. 8, 16, 24. And you stop. You always take the bigger one and you do the multiples of it. So 8. because 8's got to be able to go into the number. So you keep counting up. 8, 16. Well, 6 and 3 don't go into 16. Try the next one, 24. 6 goes into 24 and 3 goes into 24. Okay, please. I'm multiplying everything by 24. I'm multiplying both sides by 24. Now I can go 24 bracket, or I can go 24 times the first one, 24 times the second one, 24 times the third thing. I'm multiplying both sides by 24.
Is it going to be like 24 times 5?
That's right. That's right. So it's 24 times this 5 bracket t plus 3 over 6 minus, why am I putting a minus? Because it's minus all of this. So minus 24 times 3 bracket 1 plus 2t over 8 equals 24 times 8 over 3. Believe me, I'm multiplying the first thing by 24. Doesn't matter. Don't put plus 24 times negative 3.
Miss, can we expand the brackets first?
No, definitely do not. You could, but I don't think you need to. You can if you want. If you want, yes, you can expand the brackets. It might be easier for you. All right? Actually, it's probably not a bad idea when you're first starting out to expand the brackets. No, I've decided it's better. When you're practicing, when you're starting out, Relina said, Miss, can we expand the brackets? If you do, you've got to be really careful, but don't go negative 3. Just be really careful. Just be really careful. That's because you'll probably make a mistake here when you're expanding. I'll show you in a minute.
Negative 3 times 1, negative 3 times 2.
Yeah, but then you've got to go in no. See, it's too complicated to do that. You just go negative, expand, just keep it all over the fraction. Don't use the negative yet. I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you what I'm doing. All right, let's keep going. Girls, are we okay with multiplying everything by 24? Do you know why I'm doing it? Watch what I'm going to do. 6 goes into 24 4 times. 8 goes into 24 3 times. 3 goes into 24 8 times. I just demolished my denominator. I don't have one left. They're all 1. That is the idea of doing this. Now, instead of going 5, instead of multiplying through, I take it back. No multiplying through. 5 times 4 is what? 20 is now being multiplied by 10 plus 3. This is much better. Minus, what's 3 times 3? 9 is being multiplied by 1 plus 2t. This is much easier. Equals 64. So, we're multiplying by 24, 24, 24. 24 over 6 is 4. So you've got the whole number 4 here being multiplied by the 5, which is 20. 24 over 8 is 3. So the whole number 3 gets multiplied by that other 3, which is minus 9. This really is much better. If you set it out like this, do your cancelling, 4 and 5 are the whole numbers outside. 3 and 3 are the whole numbers outside the brackets. So 20t plus 60. See how it becomes a one-line easy equation. So all you've got to do, multiply by 24, do your cancelling out. Do your cancelling out and make sure the denominators are 1. When the denominators are 1, you don't have a denominator anymore. And then it just becomes like a straight, easy type of question that we would have done first. Now, what do I do now with these brackets? Now, this is much easier than common denominator, girls. Much easier. I take it back. Do not expand up here. Why? Because if you expand, then you've got to expand again. You've got to do it twice. This is all done in one line. So what have I got? Expand. Minus 9 minus 18t. So number one most common error in senior, when you expand this, they don't, minus 9 times 1 minus 9 times positive 2t is minus 18. So 20t minus 18t is 2t plus 51. It is, because it's 20t minus 18t. So therefore 2t is 64 minus 51. 2t is that 7? Have I made a mistake?
Miss,
Yes?
is it okay in
I'm working out, instead of doing like 2t equals 64 minus 51, I just straight away put the answer.
Yeah, of course.
13, I said.
Thank you. Something wrong with me. Tired.
6 and a half.
Thank you. 6.5 or 13 over 2 or whatever you like. Thank you. Over x minus 1 over 3x equals 2/3. Same method. What number does x, 3x and 3 all go into? The smallest. Yeah, lowest common denominator is 3x. So they all go into 3x. So we're going to multiply everything by 3x. Okay. 3x times the first fraction minus 3x times the second fraction equals 3x times the other one. Notice I've got exactly what I had, and I'm going 3x times that. Why am I putting a minus? Because the second term's got a minus in front of it. Minus 3x times the other one equals 3x times the other one. Now you do your cancelling. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to multiply, multiply, multiply. We're going to cancel. Make sure all the denominators are 1, and then we're going to be happy.
Oh, Miss, can we cancel the x?
Go. Yes.
Okay, so it's 3 times 7 is 28.
Beautiful. The x's cancel. What cancels here?
1, so minus 1.
How easy is this? And what cancels here?
The 3.
And you get?
2x. Oh, that was the issue. Yeah, that was just...
Girls, this is not... If you just... I'm telling you, this is the best method to use. You just got to practice it. Multiply by 3x, 3x, 3x. Cancelling between the numerator and the denominator. Just cross them out. Or divide the numbers. 21 minus 1 is 20. So therefore x is 10.
Miss, are you